Hello, children. Welcome you all to class ninth English class. In the previous class, I had begun a new lesson on saying please, written by A.G. Gardner, in which the author points out the value of good manners in social life. Good manners are key to be successful in life. In the same way, bad manners are not a legal offense, but they create a bad air and spread negativity in the society. In the last class, we have come across about the liftman who was expecting please from the person who entered into the lift and got into trouble. Today, we'll know the story of a bus conductor who was benevolent by nature. Benevolent means kind and friendly by nature. Open your textbook page number 129, children. I'll be continuing from point number 5. As I read, follow in your textbook. I should be like a feature in this connection, my friend, the polite conductor. By this discriminating title, I do not intend to suggest a rebuke to conductors generally. On the contrary, I am disposed to think that there are few classes of men who come through the ordeal of a very trying calling better than bus conductors do. Here and there, you will meet an unpleasant specimen who regards the passengers as his natural enemies, as creatures whose purpose on the bus is to cheat him and who can only be kept reasonably honest by a loud voice and an aggressive manner. But this type is rarer than it used to be. I fancy the public owes much to the Underground Railway Company, which also runs the buses, for insisting on a certain standard of civility in its servants and taking care that standard is observed. In doing this, it is not only makes things pleasant for the traveling public, but performs an important social service. Usually, when we hear the word bus conductor, what comes to our mind, children? Yes, screaming, arguing, shouting at students, scolding people for not giving exact change, etc. etc. But at the same time, we have to think why the conductors behave like that. Because there are some people who cheat the conductors and create problem by giving big denomination currency notes for paying a meager amount and causing inconvenience. But on the contrary, there are a few good conductors also who are polite, follow certain standard of civility, and create a pleasant atmosphere. The author also appreciates the services provided by the underground trains, where a certain standard is maintained and which makes traveling very comfortable. Moving on to the sixth point, it is not therefore without any feeling of friendliness to conductors as a class that I pay a tribute to a particular member of that class. I first became conscious of his existence one day when I jumped onto a bus and found that I had left home without any money in my pocket. Everyone has had the experience and knows the feeling. The mixed feeling which the discovery arouses. You are annoyed because you look like a fool at the best and like a knave at the worst. You would not be at all surprised if the conductor eyed you coldly as much as to say, "Yes, I know that stale old trick. Now then, off you get." And even if the conductor is a good fellow and lets you down easily, you are faced with the necessity of going back and the inconvenience, perhaps, of missing your train or your engagement. Author A.G. Gardner was not at all thinking of conductors until he had a personal experience. One day, author, in a hurry, jumped onto a bus and found that he had left home without any money in his pocket. Imagine the embarrassing situation. Did you experience such situation in your life, children? If people around you come to know that you are traveling without a penny, people glance at you like a dishonest person. Or when you try to give an explanation, the conductor may eye at you in such a way that it is an old trick and it is better you get down. In case if the conductor is a good fellow and lets you get down, but the people around you will give a sarcastic look by which you will be really ashamed. Moving on to the seventh point. Having searched my pockets in vain for stray coppers and having found I was utterly penniless, I told the conductor with an honest face, as I could assume that I couldn't pay the fare and must go back for money. Oh, you need not get off. That's all right, said he. All right, said I. But I haven't a copper on me. Oh, I'll book you through, he replied. Where do you want to go? And he handled his bundle of tickets with the air of a man who was prepared to give me a ticket for anywhere from the bank to Hong Kong. I said it was very kind of him and told him where I wanted to go. And as he gave me the ticket, I said, but where shall I send the fare? Oh, you'll see me someday, all right, he said cheerfully as he turned to go. And then, my fingers, still wandering in the corners of my pockets, lighted on a shilling and the account was squared. But the fact did not lessen the glow of pleasure which so good natured an action had given me. Nevertheless, coming back to that day when Arthur, after getting inside the bus, remembered that he had forgot his wallet. Recalling his previous experience with the other passengers, he told honestly to the conductor that he cannot pay, so he wants to get down and bring money from home. To his surprise, the conductor told him he need not get down and asked him where he wanted to go. Then he took out the bundle of tickets and gave the author a ticket for his desired destination. When the author asked when should he pay back, the conductor replied very cheerfully that any other day whenever they would meet next time. After some time, the author got some money in his pocket and gave to the conductor. But he can never forget the gesture shown by the conductor and it stayed in his mind forever. Assignment of the day. First one. What did the polite conductor do to the author? Second. What is the meaning of the word benevolent? I'll continue the next part of the lesson in the next class, children. Thank you, children.